Here we go. Bitcoin ballin', gonna chat callin', what you need, baby, I got you. Bitcoin ballin', act where we all in. It's
STAKK Nation, welcome back to the channel. You heard that right. You know, if there's one thing I've always wanted to do in my life, is to be Bitcoin balling. Better yet, gonna short calling if possible. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been waiting for this day. We have a very special guest with us, man. The Bitcoin, no, let me roll back. The Orange Baron, okay. Mr. Bandele L. Welcome to the show, sir.
Love. Good to be here, brother. Thanks for having me.
Hey, absolutely love it. Absolutely incredible. I'm glad that we're finally doing this. I remember when we met at Bitcoin 22. I was
Yes.
like, this must be Bitcoin Jesus or something. All the way. Absolutely incredible. Thank you for hanging out with us, sir. Absolutely amazing.
So glad to be here, brother. Thank you for your platform. Thank you for sharing. You know, you guys teaming up, being unified, and doing what you do. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Our platform is your platform. You're welcome anytime.
Yes.
Absolutely. So, for those who do not know, right? Of course, we are all Bitcoiners. So are you yourself. But I think you're a Bitcoiner unlike any other. You know, they say uniqueness is the best thing. Like originality looks good on everyone. So tell the people, tell us more. Who is Mr. Bandele, the Orange Baron?
Yes, brother. So, yes, actually, you know, I hadn't always been a Bitcoiner like I am, right? It was
Right.
just a situation when I was actually when I traveled to Ghana in 2020, and while I was there, they had the lockdown, this world global lockdown,
Yeah.
and while I was there, my first thought, my absolute first thought was that this is a global reset. First thought. And so I went into survival mode.
Right.
And the first thing was to call my broker and let my broker know all the liquid that all the investment that you have, any kind of stocks or bond, whatever it may be, I need you to liquidate it to Bitcoin like yesterday. I need you to make it liquid cash. I need liquid cash
Oh,
right
snap.
like yesterday, right? Because it's like that was just like the first thing, right? And so the broker, they made the cash available, and I had my debit card with me when I was in Accra, because my dream was to take my son to Africa for the first time. I wanted him to put his feet on African soil. You know, I was visualizing that for years.
Of course.
And so during the in 2020, that was the time that was happening. And lo and behold, 2 days after we arrived, and we actually ended up going to Accra, Ghana. And 2 days after we arrived in Accra, Ghana, they had this global shutdown, this big lockdown. And so my first thought was, okay, reset, call your broker. When I called my broker, he released all the liquid cash available from the stocks. And from that, I was just running to the ATM machine every day and getting the minimum of 3,500 out of the ATM machine every day. And I was going to the local miners there in Accra, and I was just buying Bitcoin. You know, every day I would go get that minimum, and I was going to the miners buying Bitcoin. And so after 1 week I was in Ghana, 2 weeks and 3 weeks and 4 weeks and 5 weeks, and my family was calling like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? We hadn't heard from you." And that's why you're hearing the song, "All this calling, I can't stop Bitcoin balling."
Speaking of that, man, I can't wait till we get to check that out, because
Yeah.
that's also one of the biggest things that you're known for. You have, I think, the catchiest Bitcoin song I've ever heard. It's always incredible.
Yes.
So
Thank you, brother.
the people heard at the beginning, but we're definitely gonna take a look at it again here. Now, so at this point in time, you're buying this Bitcoin. How
Yes.
long have you known about Bitcoin before this?
Yes, like it was 2020. So in 2017, I heard about Bitcoin, and it was about maybe about $1,000 a coin at the time. And so I accumulated. I didn't go all in, right? I just accumulated. I thought it was a great idea to.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
and so it was about 2017. I started accumulating Bitcoin, and I just left it in my wallet, and just forgot about it. And it was working for the next few years, planning to go to Ghana, going to Africa, taking my son to Africa, which is in 2020. And that's when, while I was over there and that big lockdown happened, that's when I went all in to Bitcoin. 100%. There wasn't no Ethereum. It was no any other coin. Nothing against those platforms. It was just, I just felt like I needed to get the money first. I knew that Bitcoin was the money of the world. Okay. It was going to be the actual foundation money of the whole world. So it made sense for me just to accumulate Bitcoin, And so that's what made sense to me. And that's why I went all in. And even till this day, 100% Bitcoin, 100% on, just all Bitcoin,
Hey, there we go.
Yeah.
I remember the first time when I started coming to the realization that I was going to be 100% Bitcoin. It was a tough thing to deal with mentally. But I think the good thing is that when I got hit with the Bitcoin maximalism, this was actually in Miami.
Yeah.
When I met this one chick out there, and she was just 100% Bitcoin all the time. So I had to go back and really ask myself, what is this all about? So I started doing my research, and all of a suddenly, it was just like, hey, I'm selling everything else, just Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So
You wise guy.
if anyone is wise out there, I think they would listen to this segment right here, especially, and reconsider where they stand from a financial standpoint. Sell everything and buy Bitcoin. No financial advice.
Not financial advice for sure.
There we go.
It only makes sense to come from a Bitcoin position, in this whole global world of finance. Coming from a Bitcoin position makes sense.
Exactly.
Okay, you can go buy any other assets in the world, but you want to come from that Bitcoin position, for sure. Anything else you can buy in fiat dollars, you still gonna need Bitcoin to back that fiat. Well, no matter whatever other thing of value that may be in the world, it's still gonna need the Bitcoin to back that fiat that you're using to buy that thing, whatever it is.
There we go. I agree with that. Double, go ahead.
Yeah, jump in.
Yes.
Oh man, again, I just been over here smiling, blushing. I know. When we first met, I knew we had that connection. I was like, hey, Brizzy,
Yeah.
you gotta meet this guy, man. This guy is just different. And then you played me the video, and I was like, all right, we gotta get you on the show. So now that you're here,
Yes.
Brizzy, hit him up with a song.
Listen,
Bitcoin ballin', act where we all in.
not often do you see such a striking video, if you will, right? I'm just gonna pull this up here. So let's talk about the video, right?
Yes.
When I saw this video, I'm not gonna lie. The first thing that came to my mind was like, this is a lot of courage. I'm gonna be fair. This is a lot of courage. But let's play the video, and then I would like to definitely get back and let's talk about it.
The Owens Baron, baby.
Bitcoin ballin', gonna chat callin', what you need, baby, I got you. Bitcoin ballin', act where we all in. It's that time, no more sleeping. We ballin', Bitcoin ballin', we ballin' and ballin'. Bitcoin ballin', gonna chat callin', what you need, baby, I got you. Bitcoin ballin', act where we all in. It's that time, no more sleeping. We ballin', Bitcoin ballin'. You're sleeping. Bitcoin ballin'. Billy in my pocket, moving like stock. I am the bank and I got it on lock. The greatest story ever been told. I got that digital gold. I got this.
Oh snap!
I mean, first of all, the man is cold on the roller skates. Let me say multi-talented artist, skating. I mean, smartest financial investor. I mean, as long as you buy Bitcoin, geez, man, you can't lose. Tell us, man, what inspired the music?
What inspired the music, right? This what inspired the music, right? When during the lockdown, And if I'm running to the ATM machine to turn dollars into Bitcoin, my
Right.
thought is, and I knew that the local CD, Ghana CD, you could take, it took five, took for my dollar, I could only get five, I could get five CDs for $1,
CDs.
right?
Yeah.
So if I'm taking the dollar that's going weak to Bitcoin, so if you turn it into Bitcoin, then naturally those who are earning, using their hard-earned labor, working for their local currency, they need to be doing exactly what I'm doing. And it's like, this is the most important thing I could be doing in my life. And I need to share this and make sure that I can do what I can to get the message out to the local people as well. And since I'm a songwriter, I said, let me just use the music, right? And
Yeah.
so I just wrote, just put this beat, just start beating on the furniture, right? Just start beating on the furniture, right? And when I, then I was inspired by the beat, and I sent the song over to this local producer, and I said, put some music to my beat, right? And then he sent the music back, and then with the music, then I was able to write the song Bitcoin Ballin'. And it was all because I was like, okay, how can I get the message to these young people, all these people that's working for local currencies? How can I get the message? And I said, let me use art, let me use this music. And so I wrote the song, and then I did the video, and then the video went #1 in Accra. And people who wasn't thinking about Bitcoin, wasn't buying Bitcoin before, all of a sudden seeing this song and hearing this music, now all of a sudden Bitcoin, now you're having Bitcoin coming up in December. The conference is coming up in December because so many people have become aware of Bitcoin, just from the music and media and the platform that exposed the message to the people. But it was because I wanted to just get the message out. If I was running to the ATM machine every day to buy to get local dollars to buy Bitcoin, then I feel like the local people, we need to be in a long line doing the same thing. They need to be buying Bitcoin as well, right? Because the solution for me, solution for them, solution for the world. If you're under government where you're working your hard labor, trading your labor for the local currency that being printed by a third party, then that's not the best position to be in, And I was like, I got to get this message out somehow, So I said, let me just write this song, and hopefully that'll kind of, kind of get the message out.
I think that was a great idea because we know for sure that media is powerful, right? Whether it's just, you can see TikTok, man. Anyone can get on TikTok, and as long as you post something that strikes people's interests, right, you can build a whole pattern and a trend and everything else like that. But because I know one thing that is also very difficult is explaining Bitcoin to people. It's almost like once you start describing what Bitcoin is and what it does, it's like, people's minds just shut down. However, the crazy thing about it is Bitcoin, in many ways, really, is supposed to be the easiest thing to understand, because it seems like it's everything that we're already doing, just with a centralized or a decentralized backend operating system. Let's call it that way for the purposes of this video. So for you, how do you simplify that description of Bitcoin to people who don't understand what it is?
Yeah, really, it's like even like for Michael Saylor, you got to be put in a situation.
Yeah.
You got to be in a genuine situation, because people who have other option where they don't really feel like the real need, then they're not going to really hear it the same way. If I had not been in the lockdown in Accra like that, I wouldn't have not received it the same way. I wouldn't have took it to heart like I did. With Michael Saylor, he was like in a situation to where, he had no other choice but to pay attention to Bitcoin, right? He was not even like, Bitcoin is this, it's okay, but it's not all that. But when he was in a situation where he had nowhere to turn, nowhere to look, he was able to give more attention to Bitcoin. And that's when he had that light bulb moment came on, right? And now he's all in. And it's similar with myself. It's like I have, this big global reset. I'm all these miles away from my bank account. What can I do about it? I don't want to be at the mercy of my broker, of my bank, so many miles away. What can I do about it? And so the solution for me was to be able to get my liquid, And I never read the white paper. I never read a whole lot of information on Bitcoin. It was just in my whole psyche. I knew that Bitcoin was a solution. To me, Bitcoin is more bigger than anything logical at all. Bitcoin is a spiritual solution for the people. Okay. And the people, when you talk about media, people can listen to the media. Okay, and the media have a tendency of having more information on the front that's filled with fear, and then the background, those who are really smart and understand money, they are seizing the opportunity, and that's exactly what's happening to Bitcoin right now. You got the big guys, the multi whales in the background who are buying up all this Bitcoin. I keep up with that. They're buying all this Bitcoin in the background, but yet in the front, where you got the everyday retail people, they're afraid because they're listening to the media, think, oh, I shouldn't buy. Oh, big, oh, this is going to go to zero. I shouldn't move. I shouldn't budge. When the smart people know that it can't go but so low. I mean, the bottom is only but so far, just months ago, Bitcoin was at 69,000, several months ago, Bitcoin was at 69,000. So for it to be down at 20,000 right now, it's a blessing because it can only go down so far. But people, even at 20,000, they're afraid to move because they're listening to the media. They're looking at the media, and the media is filled with fear to make people stay away from this opportunity of a lifetime. And a whole generation we will never ever see again, to where the wealth came to the regular everyday people first. You don't have to have $300,000-$400,000 to get involved, to benefit from this opportunity. All you need is $5, $10, $20, $100. That's the greatest part about it, because many people, they could put their hands on $5, $10, $100 or whatever in most basic any country in the world. And now you done went from a very weak currency that's controlled by a third party to having the number one asset on the whole entire planet in your phone, in your possession, and you can go anywhere in the world without having to do anything but just decide that that's what you want to do. That freedom right there, to me, is only our creator could bring such a solution into such a problem, which is where you have governments upon governments upon governments who are just printing, affecting the money that we hold as a representation of our wealth. But yeah, we wake up every day, it loses value every single day after day, month, week after week, month after month, year after year. It's designed to do just that. As soon as you take that, you become aware, and you take that and you flip it to Bitcoin. Now you've just seized that whole entire deformation of your wealth instantly, okay, by being aware, okay? And with that awareness, you took action, okay? And with you taking action, now you have a solution, okay, that can no third-party government entity take away from you or your family. $5, $10, $20, $100, it don't matter wherever you are. You're able to take what you have and turn it to the number one asset on the planet. The number one asset, I'm living here in Malibu, right? This is the most coveted place that you can live in America, right? The most coveted place. Kanye West is he's one of my neighbors around here, It's like, but the bottom line is that no matter what property you can get that's pristine, that's whether it's stocks or bond, Tesla stocks, tech stocks, or S&P 500, it don't matter. Bitcoin is the number one asset that any single individual could hold in their possession. And to me, that is like amazing. And for people to even think twice about that, it's because they just don't understand this moment, this beautiful moment in time that's facing all of us right here in 2022. Yeah.
I really think they do not understand it because it's interesting, because just the other day I was showing my coworker the S&P 500 over, I think it was like since 1990 something.
Yes.
And since then, it's maybe grown, I think it was like 500% or something crazy like that. And
Wow.
I was showing him Bitcoin, and Bitcoin was over, I think it was over 15,000% up. And this is 15,000% while it is not in this pullback that we're in. This is not even while it was at 67,000 or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
So like you said, man, this is the number one asset. Humanity
Yes.
has never seen anything like this. And I think that's what people need to understand.
Yes.
You also said something really powerful there, and that is just the level of freedom that Bitcoin is bringing. Because it always makes me wonder. Uh, and this is the part that people just don't seem to understand, as you
Yes.
described there. When people do not understand this level of freedom that Bitcoin is bringing, do you think that it is, at least in the United States? Because here's here's the interesting thing. I want to talk about freedom here for a little bit. I know in America we talk about freedom, and don't get me wrong, America is a great country, the greatest in the world to this day, if you ask me. They have always done what they need to do to get to where they want to be. We may
We
not
give
all
thanks.
agree with it, right? Minus slavery, that one is not up for discussion. But we might not always agree with some of the strategies that they've taken, but people need to understand that they're also living the quality of life that they are because of the choices that America makes. Now, they also say land of the free, but this is where things start becoming complicated, right? On the individual level, I don't think people understand what true freedom can be if they have not experienced something else, right? Say, for example, uh, we're all from Africa, we're from the motherland. I
Yes.
think we can all agree that when you're out there, there is a different element of freedom which you don't have in America. And that is something that people who are born in the Western world might not even understand. So if you don't understand what the true definition of freedom is, well, how do you even know what you're aiming for when this
Yes.
massive, this great asset is right before your eye? What do you think of that?
Yeah, this really it's a great, great question because over here, because we've been so comfortable
Yeah,
with the dollar, with having the dominant currency of the world. Okay. So for us, it's like we don't really need anything else. We don't really need whatever, whatever, because we are in America, we're
mm,
comfortable, we've been consistent for all this time. So we really don't need anything else. And and I'm like looking around and I'm like, because I travel, um, I was able to see how people from abroad, how they could appreciate Bitcoin a million times more than those of us in America, because
mm,
we don't really have a need to think outside of the box so much, you know? It's like we don't really have to think about so much outside of the box because we have it all right now. And if I had not been in that situation to where I was like stuck in Africa, couldn't get to my money, if I wasn't aware from researching and studying, okay, that this instantly, the first thought that this is a global reset.
right.
This is the global reset. Okay. Now, traveling from outside of America, going to Sierra Leone and seeing when I gave up about $1,000 of my no, I gave up like for $100, I can get 1,000 of their dollars. That was in 1995. So to me, that was my first exposure to currencies, right? That was my
Yeah.
first exposure to how, the dollar, how strong it was outside of America. So inside of America, those of us who have the dollar, use the dollar every day, we don't think much about needing anything else. We don't think about because you can get credit cards over here, pull out the credit card, pull out the credit card, pull out the credit card. So they based on this system is based on debt. So, just go into debt, just go into debt, go into debt, go into debt, right? And debt, and it's a lot of abundance, just like it's still slavery over here. It's just financial slavery because if you owe anytime that, the borrower is a debtor it's a slave to the lender.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
The
Yep.
borrower is a slave to the lender. So over here, it is a debt slave system because it operates 100% on debt. Okay. So for us to to get off that wagon and to actually start taking the dollar and buying Bitcoin over here, we don't think to do that because it's so easy to pull out that credit card, to get this or get that and just pay it later. And so for over here to see people so comfortable, America is like the last one to really get the idea of Bitcoin. Why? Because we've been so comfortable with the dollar for so long. And I'm seeing this all around me, except over here in Malibu. Now, the smart money people who've been stocks and bonds and things like that, they are the ones who are up on Bitcoin. They having different conferences here in Los Angeles about Bitcoin. Different. One was this month. The next one is next month, which I'll be going to perform Bitcoin ball in. So the message is getting out here. But yet, if you go to Nigeria, you go to South America. I mean, you go to different parts of the country. Bitcoin has been their saving grace, their lifesaver for years already. For years already. And here in America, now slowly but surely, people are now, because they're seeing like, okay, the dollar is not the super mighty dollar around the world the way it used to be, because people's hearing and seeing that on the media. So now Americans are slowly but surely now paying attention and starting to accumulate Bitcoin, But they're late to the party though. Here in America, we're real late to Bitcoin. Real late to Bitcoin. Real late to Bitcoin.
Well, I think they might actually end up being even more late because the people are still. Not only are they being lazy about learning it, and it's crazy because I stopped trying to beat around the bush about calling it what it is. I think that people in America are being lazy about learning Bitcoin. It's the same way people have been lazy about just learning about finances. Don't get me wrong. I've not always been great at finances, still improving on it. But it is clear to me that when you're in a society where media can continuously, perpetually convince people to go into debt, making it seem like credit cards is a good thing. And of course, you have something which you also mentioned. We talk about this all the time. You have the big organizations buying Bitcoin.
The whales. Woo!
And they still make it look like Bitcoin is not coming. And so people are not buying it. Because every time I talk to people, even when I talk to people who don't understand Bitcoin at all, I'm like, listen, Tesla has Bitcoin. JP Morgan has Bitcoin. Fidelity has Bitcoin. Why do you not have Bitcoin?
Google is accepting Bitcoin.
Come on.
Bitcoin, right? So why do you have Bitcoin? And I think it is this sort of complexity that lets people be in this place where they fall behind whatever next trend is coming up, right? People missed Amazon. It's okay. People miss Tesla. It's okay. But if you miss Bitcoin, it might not be okay.
Yeah.
It's your fault.
Actually, go ahead, brother. Go ahead, my brother.
They talk about transfer of wealth on that TV every single day.
Every single day.
Yeah.
But it's like right there in your face. But a lot of people just still don't get it. Oh, the transfer of wealth is coming. Transfer of wealth is coming. It's going to be digital.
It's already happening.
Yes. In real time. In real time it's happening. And when you see it, right, it's like, it's like, but see, that's the thing about the media, right? That's the thing about the media, because I had to let some people know, okay, who I had been teaching, right? I had been letting them know like before the dip about Bitcoin. And I had talked to them about, okay, okay, give me the update on Bitcoin, how's people accumulating Bitcoin there. And they was thinking, because of media, because of too much media and looking online and everything, they was like, I shouldn't get Bitcoin right now because Bitcoin is down. I'm like, that's manna from heaven.
No, the time you're supposed to buy it is when it's at 67K.
Your song said all them callings, calling, right?
Exactly.
We've not been getting them calls lately. Watch, they'll be back. Calling and calling. Oh, how do I get some Bitcoin? Man, I've been expecting them calls.
Listen, they're going to call you at 100K. That's where they call it.
Right? The retail platform, they're in the position because they want people to be able to walk into their banks, to their institution, and buy Bitcoin from them. Having that middleman, but it's going to be at top retail price. Right now, Bitcoin is on sale around the world. Bitcoin is on sale. Okay. Absolutely. On a beautiful, when I'm Instagram, and I always say it's a beautiful dip. I call it a beautiful dip. It's a beautiful dip
A
because we
beautiful
don't
dip.
control the growth of Bitcoin. Okay, it's designed to do what it's doing. It's a step. If you start from where it began and where it is now, yes, volatility because it's very much alive. There's a lot of action going on in that Bitcoin space. So you're gonna see this, which is natural. If it's flat like gold, that means that it just didn't serve this purpose and it's like
That's all. Now,
Talking
here's
of
my
gold.
volatility. When it comes to volatility, when people complain about volatility, if there is no volatility, you will not make profit.
yes.
Exactly. Volatility
Yes.
is the markets.
Yes.
There's no markets without volatility. But wait a second though, talking of gold, folks keep saying, oh, Bitcoin is digital gold. I think Bitcoin is way more than digital gold based on what you just said. You were in Ghana, basically the capital of gold, the gold
Yes.
capital of the world.
Yes.
Gold is manipulated. People gotta believe and accept that because they're like, oh, there's limited amounts of gold. Nah, not if you go to Ghana. You can just go to the river down the street and print gold.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
That is true. That is true. You can just walk down the stream one day, like, oh, look at this chunk.
And rainy season, right? Woo! After rainy
Must have
season, yay.
must have just floated downstream. I'll probably just take this and go see if I can get some food on my table this afternoon.
You know, what's amazing is that when the lockdown happened, when I was going to the ATM machine, getting that fiat from the machine, I wasn't. And before the lockdown, right? Before I was actually going to before the lockdown, right? I went to the villages, right, to buy some gold, right. Just a little bit, I said, I'm going to take my son to Ghana and we're going to buy gold and, we're going to do containers. We're going to bring containers in, and we're just going to do import and export business. Right. But after that lockdown happened, y'all, and I was going to the ATM machine, I wasn't thinking about, I need to get to the village to buy some more gold. I was not be trying to go and use my fiat to buy all that heavy, bulky gold. You know what I'm saying? And then try to figure out how to get it out of Ghana. I went to an ATM machine. I went to the local miners and Bitcoin miners, and I was buying that digital gold. I was filling my wallet up. I was filling my wallet up with that digital gold. I wasn't even trying to mess with that physical gold. Like, And I'm so thankful that I had that option, that physical gold versus digital gold.
Which that's the other thing too. I need to get more non KYC bitcoins, man. Straight from the miners, man.
It's a smart guy right there.
Exactly. Well, let's switch gears here a little bit. And I know, Double O, you have a bunch of questions here. When it comes to Ghana, right, Africa as a whole to begin with, but more specifically in this case, Ghana, the first Bitcoin 2022 event is going to be happening in Ghana, and you're going to be performing there, of course. I mean,
yes.
Who else can we have performing in a situation like this, man? Okay, it has to be only the best. So I wish I could be there to see that performance. Don't forget to record it, by the way.
Yes, brother.
But so the event is coming up. This is going to be the very first in Africa. What are some things that you're excited about for just the more exposure of Bitcoin to Africa or in Ghana in this situation? And what are some other things that you think this conference will do for Ghana?
It's going to inspire more people the young people to want to learn coding. Right. They're going to want to learn coding because you can learn coding on the internet, but you got to become aware. Got these bright minds in Ghana and Accra area all around, all these bright minds, just like they haven't become aware yet. So with this conference, it's going to be so many more people become aware, and it's going to allow them to tap into like, wow, they're going to be inspired. And many are going to be inspired to start for the first time to learn the code, to learn to want to develop apps. So that's going to be a lot of what's going on in the conference to like attract all the bright minds to come and start learning, become aware and then start learning coding, because at the end of the day, all the future is going, so they'll be way ahead because all the future in light speed is already, like y'all says, right before our eyes. The transition of wealth is already happening from the legacy traditional money system to the new digital system, with Bitcoin being the money of this whole new digital system, being the money. Y'all heard that the money make the world go round. Bitcoin is going to be that. It is that money The
It's the
money of the
global money.
yes, 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 the money
It's not
of
controlled by
the
any country.
yes.
Yeah.
You
The money of
know,
humanity, would you say so?
all of humanity, and remember the having, right? It's becoming
Yeah.
going to become less and less scarce, and that's when people are going to be seeing these $500,000 Bitcoin, $1 million Bitcoin, like 5 or 6, 7 years, 10 years from now, they're going to be like, oh my God. And if you have Bitcoin in your family, you're going to be like you're going to be like you're going to be like the top. I mean, your family is going to be like, whoa, that family holds Bitcoin. Oh, see that family right there, they hold Bitcoin. See that family right there, oh, they got Bitcoin. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a beautiful situation.
It'll be like the Rockefellers back in the early days of America. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Exactly.
That is exactly what's going on right now. People better open their eyes and see. You know,
And you won't go ahead.
another big benefit for Bitcoin Ghana, Bitcoin Accra, Africa, is that they're going to be going there, they're going to be seeing you performing live, getting the knowledge in a different format. If you can't read the book, just listen to the lyrics. That's enough sometimes, you know, just listen. You know, the music is there, the education is there. Africa, the continent needs Bitcoin. And the education as to why they need Bitcoin will be at that conference. So yeah, folks need to attend. For sure.
Yes, for sure, for sure. It's a beautiful thing. And I was like, I couldn't have planned that. I could not have planned for Bitcoin to end up in Accra, Ghana. I could never, out of all the places they could have went to Nigeria, because all the West, we are always talking about how Nigeria had them took Bitcoin and just made it to utilize it like nowhere else. Nowhere else. The local people like, we're not depending and waiting on no government. We're gonna do what we gotta do. And now the system, is so smooth and it's so, so beautiful and it's so amazing to the Bitcoin community. Talks about Nigeria, how Nigeria is doing Bitcoin like no other. And I'm seeing Ghana for sure. You got the president, right? You got the president, those who in position, they have to take it easy, because that's their position. And Bitcoin, that's why China can't even be feeling Bitcoin, because they're a dictatorship society. Russia is a dictatorship society, and Bitcoin is all about freedom to the people first. But people having their own sovereignty, because if you're controlling your wealth, you control your sovereignty. You control, but you depending on the currency that you need in order to buy food and the different things that you want. And it's been delivered to you by a third party who, when they print more of it, what you holding, it gets devalued. Less and less, more and more and more. It's by design. It's not designed to hold no wealth.
Yep.
It's designed just for the quickie. You know what I'm saying? Just for today or tomorrow.
Yeah, the debt process, man. Get in debt, man. IMF just come and borrow our money, man. Come borrow our currency.
Come
right?
on now.
And then they will go ahead and increase the interest rate some more. Like, oh, wait a second, I can't pay back. Interest rates have gone up. Oh, come borrow some more. We're trying to tell Africans, like, yo, you don't even need that anymore. Get your real freedom this time around. Forget colonization. Damage is done. Forget your current currency. It's controlled by the petrodollar. Go get on the global system. Go get on the global currency, digital. Nobody can seize it. They can't shut you down. See what happened to Russia and Iran. They try to shut them down off the Bitcoin. Like, nah, man, you can't shut us down. We still got another currency to use. Forget Swift. We got Bitcoin.
I think that's one major place where Bitcoin is clearly proving its use case.
Yeah.
And keep the having too, y'all. That having.
Yeah.
People sleeping on that having. Oh my goodness.
That's coming up in 2023.
In 2023, exactly. Sooner than 24. It was 24, but because of the hashing, it's coming in 23 now. Yeah.
Hashing has proven. So like the numbers of hash. Oh man, it's. I think we did a show. The hash rate has gone up so much, even with the recession.
Yes. Oh yeah, even with the recession, because that just lets you know, right, that Bitcoin is a solution. Because when the recession is down, more people now is coming to that place you have to come to where, like, wow, I really do need this, right? You got to need it. You can't just want it. You got to know you need it. You got to know that you need it. If people don't feel like they need it, they're not going to respond to it like the people that know, the people that want it. they're not the same mentality as the people that know that I need this, and people in Africa know it, like, need it more than anywhere else,
More than
They
anywhere
needed that
else. And
sucker
I think-
yesterday.
and I think
like
if you have to get
yesterday.
to the- if you have to get to the point where you need it before realizing that you need it, it's going to be unfortunate. Because at the point where you realize you need it, you're never
Good
in a good
point.
place.
That's so true. You like the
that's
last at the
why-
party. You late to the party.
But that's why I keep saying that this complacency, this laziness that people have to understand what Bitcoin is going to be. I felt like I was hitting my head against the wall because, and you said this earlier, a light bulb moment. It's
Yes.
a moment.
Beautiful
Right?
moment.
No matter how long you've been trying to dabble in Bitcoin, you have to keep going until you have that light bulb moment. Because the moment it clicks,
Yes,
right,
yes.
you look at everything differently.
Oh my
Everything you
goodness.
look at just starts rolling in. So definitely, I mean, you've hit some serious key points there, man. And I know I'm just slowly coming back at them. I have
Yes,
a fun
yes.
question for you. Given everything that is going on right now, okay, and I'm asking this question because I think I have a plan of my own in my head. If for a
Yes.
situation like this, let's take example. The Orange Baron, Mr. Bandele, no, we'll call him His Excellency, right? Mr. Bandele, you're now the president of, Wakanda, sitting right there in the heart of Africa, right? And you now realize that Bitcoin is here, and this is an opportunity unlike any other. Given the current geopolitical situation, we see where Russia is, you see where the West is. If your country was one of those that was under colonial rule, they want to say colonialism is over, but we all know what it is. And now you're trying to remove yourself from this situation, right? Take the situation of the typical African country. They don't have a massive army, so they cannot necessarily defend themselves from countries like France and other Western countries. But Bitcoin is here. What would you do to get your country off the, say French franc or whatever foreign currency, and put yourself in a position where your country is now striving forward?
I would do just what Bukele did. I would do just what Bukele did over in El Salvador, which I did perform Bitcoin balling at their conference over there too. I have to send y'all the it's beautiful. I would do just what he did. I would make.
Can we come on stage with you one time?
Yes, brother. Come on, for sure. We family. Come on.
Yeah, I want to come on stage with you. Man. I'll be the backup dancer or something. I can't really dance, but I can maybe shake a leg as well. Right?
We'll give y'all a couple pair of roller skates, and we'll get up there and do our thing for sure.
Hey, listen, I'm about to practice, man, because I'm in there. We do this.
I've been moonwalking out. I just been moonwalking in one spot.
All right, carry on. So you're doing the same thing as Bukele. Carry on.
Yes, I would make Bitcoin legal tender within a heartbeat. Even like the brother over in Africa, too, the Republican of African Republican, same thing. And all of the other countries got to do the same thing.
They do.
You got to have Bitcoin on your books,
Yeah,
or else you don't have no real money back in your fiat.
Yep.
this is true.
If Bitcoin is not back in the fiat, no matter if it's a CBDC, wherever, you got to have some kind of real substance back in that fiat, right? And so naturally, I would make Bitcoin legal tender. I would meet with all my people so everybody can vote and agree. And I'll go for sure make Bitcoin legal tender. Not even hesitate. Just like I went all in 100% with Bitcoin as an individual, as a president over these people live, I will absolutely make sure that we grab while the opportunity is open. We will get the real money of the world, and it would be the base. It'll be the base underlay of money that support. If we do print our local money, it would be back. It would be based by Bitcoin. But however, we would actually have the Lightning Network where we don't need we just have Bitcoin and the Lightning Network.
Sats,
and,
man.
Yeah, and stacking them
Just
stats.
Yeah. That's all you need. And other currencies.
Denominate things in cents, man.
Yo, Prison. Can you hit us up back with that song one more time, man?
Hey, man. Well, hang on.
Let's-
You can't spring it on me like that, bro. I'm not prepared for it. Okay.
I'm feeling it, just feeling it.
He ain't springing on me. Right? I'm over here like multitasking in production mode and everything. Right?
In my mind, I see the whole world Bitcoin balling. In my mind, I see the whole world Bitcoin balling. Yes.
Bitcoin balling all the way. I got you. Oh man, absolutely. So here's the thing. I'm gonna share my. Oh wait, hang on, wrong button. I'm gonna share my strategy with you guys. Okay?
Yes, baby.
And I like your strategy as well. Okay, because we see that what's his name? Uh, what's the guy in El Salvador again?
Bukele.
Bukele. All right. So we see what Bukele has done. It's currently in motion, and I think it's doing okay. Personally, if I was an African leader, I think this would be a great time to one align yourself with a nuclear power who is not with what would you call these people? The UN or the European Union. So now you know that if you know if the Western world wants to pull you out of there or wants to disrupt things again, there is someone else with the same firepower who can say something about it. Then maybe engage in business with them. Maybe get gas from one of those, hopefully a nuclear power that can provide gas as well. Because, gas is like, the thing. And we'll not have to mine this gas on our African soil anymore. Right? So now we're doing business with these people, which we're providing them value. We'll pay them in Bitcoin if they want. And we also have their protection. That will be the game plan. And then from there, make Bitcoin legal tender and just trade with whoever we want, trading whatever we want, and just let the African nation just roar, man. Just let it roar.
Nice strategy.
He's been waiting for it,
Yeah, I can see that vision. That's a beautiful vision because those three elements, those particular elements, they are necessary. You talk about the, petrol, fuel, and you talk about currencies,
And defense.
it's defense for sure. Those are part of being a sovereign nation for sure. But with Bitcoin, you don't even need war because everything in the whole world is all about commerce. Totally. Everything is commerce, right? Everything in commerce. And Bitcoin is that money. It's that finite money of currency in this new digital world that we're transitioning to in real time. It's just amazing.
But fiat will not go out without a fight, which is why you need defense. That was why it was bringing that up. You need to associate yourself with somebody that can back you up once they say, okay, you know what? We're going back to colonization. We're about to come out and shut you guys down because you guys now have your own currency. What do you say at that point? Right?
Yeah, exactly. If you're at the mercy of a third party, you're not in the best position. You're in a very weak link position.
Africa is already in a very, 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 very weak
position.
position.
For sure. We're definitely in a weak link position. But I think that at the same time, it's also always about negotiation, right? Because if you're providing something, like let's say, if now, that is why I mentioned getting maybe like oil and gas from such a country, because if they're incentivized to not act against you because you're providing them money, right?
You're providing them oil and gas because we have oil and gas.
Yes.
Off the wazoo.
We have
Plenty.
And we have a whole lot more other things. I think when it comes to oil and gas, we can send that to other people. Let them figure it out. We don't need to mine for oil and gas. I think Africa can choose to not do that because there's still nuclear power, right? At the end of the day, and so I think the other way I see it too is that if we have that sort of protection, and then over time it allows you to be able to build your own defenses, right, and be sustainable by yourself ultimately. But that's just how I see there. Double up.
Yeah. Now that's really something because out of all the nations, right, the only problem in every single nation is the currency. That's the
Yes.
problem of every nation is the currency for sure, because the currency is affected by third party non-noble people. Okay, they're not noble. They're not noble. There's something about it when you have all that power, when you can actually just money print go blur. You know what I'm saying? With no checks and balances. I mean, that's been the thing I've been seeing in Africa all this time. It's like, wow, every time they get a new leader in, like when I was in Sierra Leone, um, they had a coup when I was there. I'm coming from America and never seen, heard bombs and things like here on American soil. I get over there to Sierra Leone, they had a coup, and I'm hearing all these bombs and everything exploding, and all these people, they running for their lives. And over in my mind, I'm thinking it's the 4th of July. I'm like, I'm running to the bombs. I'm running to the explosions, because I'm just thinking celebration. I'm not thinking like a destruction. And, that was a real experience to experience that. And I'm like, all I'm seeing every time, everywhere, every country I go to, and here in Africa, and when I'm in Africa, it's the currency under the dollar, the currency under the dollar. The local printers there in their jurisdiction, they printing nairas, they printing CDs, they printing leons, or they call it in Sierra Leone, they call them leons. The government just print, help themselves. Come on. And then they get this loan. They get these loans from the IMF. They get these loans from the IMF. And so now they got to pay back with the real assets, like what's in the ground.
Resources, yeah.
Yeah,
Real stuff. Fake
Yeah.
money for real goods.
My question is, they're getting loans from the IMF or World Economic Forum or whatever other 3-letter,
Yes.
extortion group that they're dealing with. But my question is, what does the IMF produce? How did they get that money?
They just print it out. That's what you're saying. You print out the fake paper and you get back in return for real goods.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Is like, how do people justify accepting the fact that they can be an entity that can print money out of thin air, right? And there is no consequence for it. They're essentially creating money without work, which is it's a basic fundamental aspect of life. You have to work. You have to spend energy to be rewarded.
Proof of work. That's right. Proof of work.
Right? It's a basic concept of life. You have to prove your paycheck is proof of work. When you buy a house, it's proof of work. You put in the work, and now you're able to afford this house. And you can see even in physics itself, and this is something Kenya and I talk about all the time. Even in physics, right? You see that energy cannot be destroyed or created. It can only be transformed from one form to another, right? It's the same thing with money. If you create money without work, it means you do not use any energy. It means you've created energy out of thin air. And that is a principle that is bound to fail.
Yes. Yes.
Because right away you see that the people have control over your money. What is your take on that?
Having a third party, I call it a third party. Having a third party over, if I'm holding something that's representing my wealth, and then if it could be affected by a third party at the whim of that third party, we had never had a solution other than, buying gold, buying other assets, but yet at the end of the day, it was backed by fiat. It was backed by money printed go blur, but at least it held value longer than if you just holding just a pure fiat currency in your possession. At least you got something, like people love to buy real estate because it increases in value, but yet it's a lot of maintenance and a lot of upkeep and a lot of taxes in some jurisdictions where you know what I'm saying, where you just got to deal with that rate of cost, that's happening, whether you like it or not.
Absolutely.
Whether you like it or not, that you holding real estate or you holding gold or you holding any kind of asset, because it's backed by fiat, then it is affected. It's just slow. It's just much more slower versus something that's not backed by fiat, okay, which is Bitcoin. It's not backed by fiat. And then the fact that it's going to be less and less, more and more scarce, okay, because of these halvings that's coming up. It's just like, it's like a no-brainer. Why would you not take fiat, something that has a third party element involved that can, at a whim, make a decision that can affect the value of this very representation of your wealth that you're holding in good faith, okay? But yeah, you wake up every single week, every single month, and it's losing value down by design, by design, by design. Okay, it's losing value minute after minute, hour after hour, week after week, month after month, by design. And you holding this, yes, infinite situation. Now, when it comes to our spiritual life, we thriving on infinite. In our visions, in our dreams and aspiration, we think infinite. You think infinite for sure. But when it comes to your wealth, something that's holding your wealth, it has to be a finite situation involved, okay? It has to be a finite situation involved, because you want something that can be devalued, okay? It can't, because the more you print, then those who are holding it, the less it's worth. Scarcity, that scarcity. And for us to be able to have a technology that's representing our wealth, that represents that scarcity, that is decentralized, that is off limits from third-party entities that can have their own motives, their own motives, you know what I'm saying, their own greed, yeah, you know what I'm saying, that could make them operate in that animal level, and that non-noble mentality. Forget about you and your family. It's about, I'm in the office right now. I just won this election, and I'm about to hook me and my family, all my friends, all my schoolmates. We about to get the hookup right now. You know what I'm saying? That's the first thought.
Yeah.
The first thought. And those who are working every day, doing whatever they're doing local for the local currency, they're having to exchange their labor for that local currency while it's backed by someone who have that mentality. We're so blessed to have Bitcoin. We're so blessed to have Bitcoin. No matter who is in the position, it don't matter. If you get your hand on any kind of local currency, you get to turn that local currency into the number one asset on the globe, on the planet. El Salvador, they call it, because El Salvador mean like the savior, right? So they feel like they call El Salvador like the savior. With Bitcoin, it's like in its own way when it comes to finances, and just being in this situation where people are under the mercy of the printing of currencies that's being printed by third party, to be able to, without permission, to be able to take that currency that you can go buy go to the restaurant, you can go buy a car, you can go do anything with that currency. But for you to be able to take that currency and have the awareness and make the smartest decision you can make in your life for you and your family, and go take that currency, whether it's $5, $10, $20, $100, and go take that and buy Bitcoin. That is salvation at its finest when you talk about this problem of death and destruction and lack and shortage, this imbalance of the scale around the world. For everybody to be able to have a phone and to be able to take that phone and find some kind of exchange with some friend or neighbor somewhere, and to be able to take that, give them that little local currency, whatever amount it may be, and to be able to, in return, get that number one asset on the planet. My heart is so happy about this moment, y'all. I'm so thankful, because I have traveled to Africa, and I've been born and living in America all this time, but to go to Africa and see how all this wealth and abundance here, and the only problem is the currency that the people are under. And then the leaders having this backdoor deals going on with the IMF people, the money printer go blur international headquarters, okay, doing these deals like, we'll give you dollars, all the dollars you want. All we want is to give us some, all this fiat you want. We just want to get some real assets out of your land, and we'll call it a deal. And those who are in position, they're like, fine, you know what I'm saying? Good, no problem. So they're getting all this liquid dollars, and then they're giving up all the real assets, okay, in return, just to be able to make it, for the opportunity for themselves and those who they care and love around their immediate circle, and for the local people, they call them the peasants, to be able to take their little local currencies, whether they're a security guard, whether they're working at a little restaurant, whether they're selling goods on the street, it don't matter. As long as they can take that currency right there and turn it and buy Bitcoin, my goodness, what more could we ask for around the world? You don't need to go and get permission. You just have to have it in your possession and have the awareness of what this really means.
Yep.
This is bigger than us, the people. It's much bigger than the people. This is on a whole nother level, That's why I have no resistance about Bitcoin, because it's much bigger than we realize. This is a solution, and I've seen the problem from traveling to Africa, and I see the Bitcoin is a solution, not just for Africa, it's a solution, it's more of a solution for people in Africa to me than the people here in America. Because over here they've been having a good with the dollar all this time. It's so in the other countries where you got to come up with 1,000 of their dollars just for one US dollar, when you could take that 1,000 of their dollars and buy one Bitcoin, and now you done went from the lowest currency to the number one asset that's even above the dollar. It takes 20,000 US dollars to get one Bitcoin. Which one one is centralized and one is decentralized? Which one would you rather be holding, representing your wealth, your family wealth and future?
That's why they want to kill it. That's why they want to kill it. What? That's another currency out there kicking our butt? No way. It's not allowed.
Yeah, they're gonna have it. I can see where it's gonna be USDC and the US dollar. They're gonna be like around the world. They're gonna be just buddy. I mean, one gonna represent the private holders, and then the one gonna represent the public. So it's because it's only two things: it's public and private. For those of us who have Bitcoin, we're private. We have the private currency. We hold our wealth privately, okay? But then if you want to do any kind of public transaction, that's when the USDC, that's going to be the stable coin that people trust, because people trust the dollar around the world. They don't trust the yen.
Stable coins, talk about CBDCs. We gotta preach to the folks in Africa, man, because that's what the IMF is pushing towards their leaders. That is not the way out.
Yeah, no, because it's still fiat.
Way. Central bank digital currencies.
Yeah.
So essentially having money that is controlled by the banks and the government, really. It's not even by the banks anymore at this point. It's going to be the governments. I guess let's take what are your thoughts on CBDC, central bank digital currency? Is the government being able to, kind of like what China has right now, right? Say, I think I read an article somewhere. If you jaywalk in China, they could just take the money from your account.
Yes.
So what are your thoughts on things like that?
Well, it's jurisdiction number one. Every nation have their own jurisdiction. So just like Nigeria have the naira, America have the dollar, Ghana have the CD. Every jurisdiction, they want to have their own currency. They just do, right? They just do. They want to have their own currency. So the CBD is going to be representing their local currency, okay? And so they'll get to actually control, as far as their jurisdiction, they're going to be able to be okay with CBDC representing their currency, in all these different jurisdictions. However, all these different countries that have CBDC, am I saying it right?
CBDC, yeah. Just call it CBD.
Because, yes.
These terms it's too much.
Now, every single... Yes. Now, the thing about it is that all these currencies are going to have their little local jurisdiction CBDCs. Okay, that's well and fine. Okay, because jurisdiction is everything in these different nations, right? However, if the country don't have Bitcoin on their books, though, every one of these countries is going to have Bitcoin on their books. They may not in the front, you may not see it, but they got to have Bitcoin back in those CBDCs.
Oh, you're thinking they might peg their CBDCs towards Bitcoin, not fiat?
Yes, yes, they're going to have to.
I
They're
don't
going to
know,
have
You
to.
can't pick it
These
to
guys,
fiat,
these
bro.
guys want their fiat, man, because Bitcoin is a global currency. They want their own currency. They're not trying to do anything globally.
Yes. Now, if the people are okay with that, then of course the country, the government, they
The
can get
people
away
don't
with it.
decide nothing. They're just there. They're just there. The 1%iles, the folks in
Well, you see,
governments,
that
the
is the
top
thing,
companies
though.
make all the decisions.
I think
Yes,
that is
yes.
different because I think the people, for once, the people can choose to buy Bitcoin. And there's that part about it. The government cannot do anything about it, no matter what.
That's the part.
No
Before
matter
people didn't
what.
have.
So in some ways, CBDCs have already failed. They just don't know it yet.
Yeah, but they have to try first, though. They have to try first. They have to try.
No,
And if the
absolutely. I
people
think
don't trust, they don't trust, right? Because remember, it's all about the people. Even with the dollar, like you said, people just print it out of thin air, and it's all because the people trust. Just like people trust Bitcoin. If we didn't trust Bitcoin, Bitcoin would have no relevance whatsoever. But it's
I will
not
say one thing.
just what's that?
I will say one thing. They did such a wonderful job getting off of the gold standard that nobody complained. Someone just got on TV, blah blah blah. And you know why we got off the gold standard? We didn't have enough gold to pay back. So we're like,
Yes.
oh snap, we're about to crash the entire globe. Let's get off
Yes,
the
yes.
standard real quick.
Yes,
Something's gonna,
1971.
yep, something's gonna happen to fiat. But they're gonna do such a good communication marketing campaign, like they've always done, to get us off the fiat standard to digital currencies.
Yes,
But
yes.
what our job as Bitcoiners is to educate people that you think they have control right now, they're gonna really, really, really have control. Like, oh, you know what? We don't want you to smoke. All your smoking, we're gonna limit your smoking. I don't smoke, but I'm just saying, you cannot buy smokes with your CBDCs. Once you
Oh,
bought one packet,
wow.
you're done.
If you
They'll
can,
shut you down.
that's true. If just think if they did it with Russia, a big country, for them to be able to do it with you with an individual, that's a lot of power.
China's doing it already. And guess what? It can even expire. So, like, let's say you're a single mother with 5 kids. We have those communities, right? Where you get child support or government support. They would control what you can use every single penny of that money for. In a way, that's a good thing. So that maybe people cannot cheat the system. It's public. It's more accountable. But the control level of control is gonna be extreme. You think Facebook and Apple is tracking you right now? Wait till the government start tracking you.
Ooh, if a
Well,
company can control your money, come on. If they can control the currency you're spending every day, that's the ultimate control over your energy, over your commercial energy.
You say taxes?
well, let me ask you guys. Let me ask you guys this: if the people in China, I don't know, we're coming up to we're over an hour now, so we'll probably get wrapping up soon. But if the people in China, let's say, I started sending Bitcoin to people in China. You two started sending Bitcoin to people in China, and the people in China right now decided to start transacting with each other in Bitcoin, and all of a sudden it becomes widespread, and everyone is buying and selling things in Bitcoin. What is the government going to do about it?
Well,
Give me the worst. I'm not expecting you to know what the Chinese government does, but give me your worst case scenario. What would Xi Jinping do?
well, you know something? With the people he had to take the people's phones away. He had to literally go and take the people's phone away. He had to shut down the internet. Other than that, he's absolutely 100% powerless. Powerless over the people.
Hey.
Totally.
Hey. I got an answer for that.
Yeah, what's that?
Problem is the banks are doing such a good job right now marketing. Coinbase, Binance. Hey, I ain't got no issues with Binance. My aunt works there. If your Bitcoin is on a centralized exchange, they can shut you down.
No, I'm talking about peer-to-peer stuff using Bitcoin. And all that.
Exactly. So we gotta put the word out there. If you peer to peer in this baby, you're
Ooh,
good.
you're good.
I'm sorry. That I get what you're saying. Makes sense 100%. But that does not answer my question. If people started using Bitcoin, how would the government stop it? They're not using it on Coinbase. They're not using it on a centralized exchange. No, you see what I'm saying? You see what I mean? So they're able to still exchange value.
Oh,
If you
Bandele.
ask me, man. if you
Bandele
ask
already
me-
answered that question.
Yeah, they're powerless, right? but that's what I'm saying. It's like no matter what, and this is just kind of speaking to the point you were bringing up, Kenny, about them doing a marketing campaign and everything else like that. I don't think that these people have ever done a marketing campaign on a global scale. The US can have CNN and everything else like that. That can, when we're talking about an asset that is borderless, like there's never been anything like this. You know, so no matter how, I think literally you have to brainwash the whole world at the same time for this to work. Yeah, it's because I'm like really trying to like find the worst case scenario. And
You know what's better brainwashes though?
what is that?
Bitcoin balling. We're balling.
Yes.
The whole world needs to be Bitcoin balling. Okay,
Financial
the whole
calm.
world need to have Bitcoin in their wallet.
Hey, it's the most incredible track ever, man. All right, here we go. We just had to drop a little one there. I don't know if I was playing it loud enough, man, but there we go.
Yeah, it's a solution for the world. It's a solution for the whole world, brothers. Like over in and I know we got our time is coming up. There was, I mentioned to you, they had the family in Syria, right? They sent me messages saying our whole family was afraid to buy Bitcoin because we didn't trust the government, we didn't trust, you know. They said, but after we heard this song, they said that we went from being afraid to buying Bitcoin to where now our whole family is now buying Bitcoin because of your song. God bless the man who wrote that song. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Look at that.
You know, I mean, you could never imagine that. Yeah, inspiring, brother, and it's the whole point is to be inspiring people because I'm all in 100% Bitcoin first and foremost. I don't even think twice about it. Not even that much resistance. I don't look at the news, pay attention to the news because Bitcoin is bigger than all of us. It's a solution for the globe. All this misuse and abuse by these third party money printer go blur. This is a solution for the people because the people have suffered from the hands of these IMF and all these people long enough. And our creator don't sleep, you know, what it said, don't be sleeping, right? Our creator don't sleep when it come down to the scale being balanced for the people of the world. And Bitcoin is that balance. It's that balance. And we're so blessed to be having this conversation. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing we got to do about it. It's already happening, doing what it's doing. We just being aware early. We just early, and we are aware, and we care and love enough to use our time to, you know, to share, to get the message. Hopefully that it would, you know, reach. If it reaches just one person, it'll be worth it all.
We're doing our part. And that's all we can do.
That is what Brazen. This is why Brazen calls you Bitcoin Jesus. It's like this guy is the messenger.
Listen, it is interesting because I believe that there is someone on the interwebs who refers to themselves as Bitcoin Jesus. But you know, that is that person because we have dubbed our Bitcoin Jesus here.
Right. Yeah.
So our own Bitcoin Jesus is the Orange Baron. Okay. Mr. Bandele himself. And I really thank you for coming up to hang out with us.
Love, brother.
Questions, and I know we want to just make it an hour. This way, it's a good video. We can share.
You're coming back anytime, brothers. Y'all coming back
I
anytime.
think absolutely, we definitely want to have you on because there's a couple other things, especially Bitcoin and spirituality.
Sure, come on.
Element there, which I would like for you to. I'd like to pick your brain on that and get you to share your knowledge.
That's to me. That's the number one. To me, Bitcoin is more spiritual. You know. I responded because I had a light bulb moment. It's like, what am I going to do? It's survival mode. Now it's like it's spiritual. It's on a whole another level for sure.
Man. He has aligned his Bitcoin chakras. That's what it
is.
And now he's just floating. Untouchable.
Hey, come back for part 2 of this video.
Yeah, just let me know.
Bitcoin spirituality.
Oh man. And let's do some events too for Cameroon and for Nigeria though, y'all. Let's put something together. I'm ready.
Okay. Let's do it, man. I'm in there. Absolutely incredible. Double O. If you want to follow Mr. Bandele, absolutely check him out on Instagram. Okay. I gotta say, man, I love the orange. There is nothing like it. It just gives you a good vibe. Okay, so Mr. Bandele on Instagram, thank you so much for hanging out with us this evening. Absolutely.
Love, brother.
Double O, final thoughts, sir.
As
always, if you have not liked and subscribed, do that. We are STAKK on YouTube, on these centralized systems, Twitter, Facebook, name it. We're there.
But now,
Hey, look at that. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen. Brazen out.
the next round, brother, call me, y'all. I'm already
Call
there.
from America. They said, what you doing in Africa? All this calling. I can't stop Bitcoin balling. What you wanna do on your birthday? COVID-19 not a thing to me. I take you on a trip around the world with my own private jet with my favorite girl. No need for cash, for that's the past. Our kryptonite is going to last from the early morning